The only numbers that I've been able to find of how many people are in favour of this project were with the original consultation, which I believe involved something like under 120 people. Majority of those were, I believe, supposed to have preferred option 1 or 2, so that takes it down to about 50-something people probably at the maximum who were in favour of option 1. Now we have a petition of 13,000 people handed into Parliament that was ignored. We have the RMS had an online questionnaire that I believe was about 89% or over 80% against the project. The Hawkesbury Independent had an independent survey done. Also, at least 85% or majority of people are against this project. The only people who ever say, let's get it done, are those that still actually believe they're not going to be stuck in the traffic anymore every day. Yet the EIS statement from the RMS has totally falsely represented that. There is not one mention anywhere of the daily traffic queues that are over 1.5 kilometres long. The maximum they have listed is 400 metres for the Windsor Bridge Street intersection.
Thanks, Eva. Thank you for the question. And as an indication, I specifically asked you to make sure we got another person from that group, so as we weren't seen to be ignoring you. And that's the sort of inclusive people that we are. Always nice. Adversity. Could I say that first of all, there was some interjections that I didn't answer the first question. The first question will be addressed in the planning system. You could come up with any number of scenarios that you might think there'd be a problem to this bridge. And I'm sure that those concerns will have been alerted to the planning area for them to evaluate. So when I said that this will be evaluated properly and fairly and independently within the planning area, I meant it. Now, more people in favour of it. The community meetings, I'm told by the local members, dramatically there are larger numbers coming out in favour.
Well, then they lied.
And why would a local member tell me something like that isn't true? If they're hoping to represent a community and there was a larger number, a dramatically larger number from the community against something, the first thing they'd tell me, stop it, don't build it, don't do it. The whole community is against it. But the opposite is the situation from my information. I had a group of people came to me earlier today representing the community businesses who indicated that showed me an email from your group saying that it wasn't true that all the people that signed the petition were from outside your community, and in fact at least 40% of them were local. So there is a large number, there's 40% of your petition are local, according to the internal email that was given to me today. But as I said earlier, it doesn't matter to me whether it's the larger group or the smaller group. It's whether it's appropriate and whether we're doing the right thing and we're not alienating our important colonial history. I would not deliberately do that, and that's why we have consulted the community endlessly on this issue, and that's why we've changed it, I believe improved it, lowered the effect, and it, sadly, as far as I'm concerned, increased the cost. We've increased the cost quite considerably.
Okay, you're not really answering my question. You're going back onto your...
We promised we'd build it subject to proper planning, and that's what we're doing. If we say to the community we're going to do something, we certainly try and do something subject to proper planning approvals, and that's what we're doing.
Duncan, I might just get Ray Williams, the Parliamentary Secretary to Western Sydney, to say a few words.
Please don't mention Chris Whalen.
Eva, thanks so much for your question, and to just very, very briefly go to something that Harry requested as well. I wrote directly direct mail to 11,000 of my constituents on the western side of the Hawkesbury River. 11,000. Outlining the plan, detailed, with the photographic evidence, where the bridge was going to be, the location, and I got one objection back. One objection from 11,000 people on the western side of the river.
And
Harry, just to go briefly back
and how many in
your
favour?
In relation to Thompson Square, once Thompson Square is returned to its original size and shape, which it will be with our proposal, in the 1879 historic photo that I provided to you, you'll see that Thompson Square does indeed slope down the river.
We provided that to
engineer. How they construct that, I'm not sure, but you will see from that historic photo in 1879 that indeed Thompson Square flooded. It was actually tapered back down to the river. But if I could just make just one very, very brief point. The Bureau of Meteorology announced a couple of days ago that the Windsor Bridge was going to flood. That the peak of that flood, only 3 or 4 days ago, was going to be 7.5 metres, which would have topped Windsor Bridge. The Bureau then went on to say, and stated publicly, that if indeed that happened, which they expected it would, RMS would then need to undertake a full investigation upon the opening of that bridge to traffic, given the deteriorating state of that bridge and whether it was safe to vehicular traffic. When we raise this bridge by 7 metres, it will avoid all but the very, very worst floods, 5 indeed only in the last century, because it will be at a height of between 13 and 14 metres. There has only ever been 5 floods in the last
2 metres higher than the
century
current bridge, not 7 metres higher.
That will provide flood-free access, safe flood-free access for everybody between Windsor and the Wilberforce side of the road, in all but only the very worst floods. That's factual. That's the
So would a bypass, Mr. Williams?
That's committed to that piece of infrastructure and delivery.
Thanks, Ray. I'm just going to go to the gentleman and the young lady with the